Let's switch back to China now. Inflation is slowing there, and so is growth, and it's affecting markets and finance ministers' thinking all around the world. So let's get more from Tao Wang. She's head of China Economic Research at UBS. She joins us from Hong Kong. What do you make of this inflation data? It was in line with expectations, the inflation easing a little bit. What does it mean for monetary policy?
Well, indeed, inflation slowing down, peaking in July was very much in line with the expectation. And this is largely driven by a slower growth in pork prices and a few other items. And in our view, this will continue. However, for the Chinese policymakers, inflation is slowing, but it's still above 6%. And in September, it's likely to be about 6% as well. I think at this moment, the economy is not slowing much. Inflation is still high. I don't think it's yet time for them to decide to ease monetary policy.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Do you think the economy is actually being slashed for a pretty small return on prices?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
I was wondering whether, to get this inflation figure down, and yes, it is coming down, but it's coming down fairly slowly, but with the economy slowing down perhaps a little too fast.
No, I don't think the economy is slowing down too fast. Later in a few hours, we'll get the industrial production number, fixed investment number, and so on. I think things will show that the economic activity is still holding up pretty well. And for inflation, it's slowing down a bit slow because the food production has its cycle. It has turned. It has its supply started to increase, but it takes a bit more time. We think the inflation will go down to about 4% by end of the year.
There's structural inflation issues as well. You have labor costs constantly rising. It's kind of hard to see a scenario where you don't have inflation at these levels in China, isn't it?
Well, yes, labor cost is rising, but what we have been paying attention is actually nominal wage, but labor productivity has also been rising. So unit labor cost is not rising that fast, contrary to what most people think. And so non-food inflation, especially core inflation, is still running at 2.5–3%. It's higher than the 1–1.5% before the crisis, but 3% is probably the new norm, but it's nothing like 6–7%.
Just how reliable, Tao Wang, are these figures, certainly the inflation figure data?
Well, I would say China's data, including inflation, probably have some issues. My own view is that services prices have been systematically underestimated through the last 15 years. So it's not a matter of just now, suddenly things is not reliable. But also, I would say people feel that inflation is higher because they tend to focus on things like food, items that people buy every day. And even according to official statistics, food inflation has been running at 15%. So no wonder people feel that prices have been rising faster, because nobody is counting that the TV that they buy, the prices are dropping.
Hey, Tao Wang, really great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us from Hong Kong.